Are we living through the apocalypse time? And are we going to survive coronavirus? I'm sure many of you had this question in your mind for the last few days. And now you know it doesn't matter what's going to happen to the world economy after this coronavirus, but you are still having this thought in your mind that what's going to happen, how I'm going to survive, and how, especially financially, when it comes through this time. So any of these questions have been coming to us for the last few days. I remember last month when I was in the studio having our previous episode, I briefly touched on that, but who knew that now we are going to be locked down and be living in quarantine time? But now, me being here, it shows that the life goes on. We have to continue to do what we are good at and never give up on hope. And of course, we all are here to help each other. So I suggest you, before you get busy and dragged to another online meeting through your work, because now everybody works from home and they have to be online, I suggest you, if you want to watch this episode or this topics relates to what you've been thinking, I suggest you to save it or subscribe it so you can find it easily to get back to it later. Hi, my name is Helya Singh and welcome to my show, Wealth Coaching with Helya Singh, the fastest way to build wealth. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to the world economy after this coronavirus, but you are still having this thought in your mind that what's going to happen, how I'm going to survive, and how, especially financially, when it comes through this time. So any of these questions have been coming to us for the last few days. I remember last month when I was in the studio having our previous episode, I briefly touched on that, but who knew that now we are going to be locked down and be living in quarantine time? But now, me being here, it shows that the life goes on. We have to continue to do what we are good at and never give up on hope. And of course, we all are here to help each other. So I suggest you, before you get busy and dragged to another online meeting through your work, because now everybody works from home and they have to be online, I suggest you, if you want to watch this episode or this topics relates to what you've been thinking, I suggest you to save it or subscribe it so you can find it easily to get back to it later. Hi, my name is Helya Singh and I'm a wealth coach. I've been running this Wealth TV for almost a year now, and this is our job, just to help you to understand the financial terms, how to navigate your finances, and of course using the skills and our experience in your own life, so then you can create this recession-proof financial plan. But of course, there are times that things happen which nobody would have imagined it. So for those of you who are new and you just came to know about this episode, I would love to stay until the end and be with us, and love to hear your comments, because that's the only way we can get better and improve. And for those who are our fans, thank you very much for watching, and thanks again for all your feedbacks and helping us to produce another episode that can be helping you and us. This is a very special episode. Why? Because we all are in quarantine. We are actually, I'm in the studio that usually there are more people in it, and now because of that limited number or the social isolation, we had to bring it down. So that's why everybody is just trying to navigate through whatever they could. But does it mean the life is going to end? Obviously not. We can see the life goes on. The fact that we can see all the doctors, nurses, all the essential workers, they are still out there and trying to help the economy in any way that they could. It shows that there is hope. but we just don't know when that's going to happen. So that's why each of us as an individual and as a citizen of Earth, that's our job to know, okay, what we can do the best and do that. So today I want to talk about this fear that everybody has, because people have been asking about this fear, they've been panicking about it, and they don't know how to react. And that's a very interesting topic, because if you look at our first episode ever in our Well TV, we talked about mindset, because truly we believe mindset is the reason that people can, have a better life or have another life that they want, financially or any way that they want, because it's only our mindset that will help us to see the reality and react to it. So if your mindset is in scarcity or think that there is not enough food, or for some people not enough toilet paper, or you're just worried about other things, which is really these days they are not even important at all. So you will choose to see the negative side, the bad things in this situation, in this chaos. But if your mindset in abundance, in something that you find a way to make things work, I'm sure you will find more creative ways to do that. Just a very quick trolling around the internet these days shows that how humans have been resilient, that you see so many funny jokes these days about coronavirus that really, really makes you laugh from the bottom of your heart. So that shows that, come on, it's not about downplaying this problem. It's about that, okay, what can we do? If we cannot, solve it, at least we can laugh at it. Laughter is the best medicine. So why not do that? So instead of spreading the bad news or the people who are taking advantage of the situation, why not to spread the hope, the love, the care, and the laughter amongst everyone? Because with that, I'm sure we all gonna be, whoever is gonna survive this, later on they have a great story to tell. And this is again something that we talked about in another episode, that how we can turn our bad stories or bad event in life to something good, or a good story to inspire not only ourselves to do something better, and also for others. So this is a very interesting time. You may have your special birthday coming up during this quarantine. You may have other plans or even purchased some expensive holiday, but now everything is on hold. So your mindset now helps you to see the difference and change your environment based on what's happening. So for example, instead of saying I'm in self-isolation, just say, well, I'm safe at home. Look at it in a different perspective, because that's all you could do. You cannot go out and fight the virus. It doesn't matter how much of a heroic person you are. Unfortunately, we cannot fight with an invisible virus like that. So the wise person and the heroic is now just going to do what they can do to make their environment better, not only for themselves and also for others, for their family. And it is up to us. No matter what's your job, what's your skills, how old you are, you have that ability. Today morning, actually, I saw a very short clip of a 92-year-old woman from Europe. She came out of her home and was talking about that, yes, life goes on, don't worry, just stay home, just do the things you know the best. That was a beautiful message. So no matter how old you are or what's your experience, you all have something to add and help others and inspire others. So if you are panicking, so if you are afraid, or you know anyone who experienced these feelings for the last few weeks, or feeling anxious, it is just because of your mindset. It's not because of the virus, it's not because of what others are saying or the politician says, or other economists, they come and have a piece of go at each other. It's just because your fear is talking to you, or basically overtaking your brain. And I'd like to expand on that. And please, as you know, I'm no way a psychologist, but I've been reading enough books in relation to wealth creation and how the brain works when it comes to creating wealth at any time. So this is how my take on that. So please just keep in mind, again, this is not a advice from a psychologist. It is my version of how I see this. Your health and wealth definitely depends on your mindset and your fear, because when we have fear, when we experience fear, there is a stress hormone released in your body which is called cortisol. And when the cortisol is overproduced in our body, that basically paralyzes our brain. And the way we can define that is it paralyzes our rational side of our brain. And this is how people make irrational decisions. So for example, I've seen in the last couple of weeks, there are more houses on sale because people think, what's going to happen? What if I can't, sell my home? The price is going to go down. Or they sell shares. Obviously, for the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen how the share market has really taken a toll on them. And obviously the businesses, everybody is affected. But is it a wise thing to do? So those who went to sell, most of them, I know that it was out of fear they went to sell. But at the same time, there are some people, and obviously you come across with so many talks or suggestions through social media that this is the time to go to buy, that's the time, so take your money out, go buy shares, do this and do that. Even though there are some truth to it. But again, is it correct for your financial situation? To me, the financial health and the risk appetite of us as an individual, it's exactly like our fingerprints. It cannot be identical even to your twins. So everybody has different hopes, different plans, different aspiration in life. So that's why if a plan works for your, let's say, twin brother or sister, that doesn't mean it should work for you. So you need to find out what is best for you. And the best way, obviously, to find it, the whole first step is to get enough education from the right source. Not to get your education from just a small post on social media that these are the ways to invest and say, yes, I followed that post and I did it and it just crashed. No, this is not the way we talk about getting advice or finding and researching. That's why the first step is self-discovery. Find this time or utilize this self-isolation or social distancing to self-reflect and find about yourself more. Not only about what are your values, which definitely we're going to talk about this in a different episode, because that's one of my favorite topics about values and our shadow values, but also to find out what is your risk appetite. What is it you want to do? And these are the things we talked about in our free financial freedom course, which is available online, that it is up to us to find what works for us. Because if you know what is the best and what works for you, no matter what's the situation, you would do it. You don't care about what's going on around you. There are many people out there who are ready to help you. And one of the good things about this pandemic was the humans came out and offered so many things for free. Everybody at any industry, at any business, they are just trying to help in any way that they could. So, but it is up to you now to go find it and do the study, because without self-education, and I'm not talking about having those medical degrees or other PhD, other stuff, is the actual education for learning new skills is up to you. These past few days has really changed everybody's life. It shifted everybody's life, and now some of us have to or must work with our partner in the same small apartment, which I'm sure everybody is gonna have a nice story later on to tell. And personally, I know I can't do it. Yesterday was the only day I worked from home, and that's it. The result is today I'm here, and there is no way I can work from home with my husband at the same time. But I'm lucky that I've got my own space, I've got my own business that I can go to and nobody's there while I'm, of course, obeying the social distancing rule. But then I keep to have my sanity. So that's the main thing. So these days, everybody talks about the hygiene and how to, protect yourself. But one thing that, unfortunately we haven't heard about it much is how do you keep that hygiene inside you? How do you do the mental hygiene? The hygiene is not about just going there and wash your hands for 20 seconds and do this and do that or use the sanitizer. Do you have the ability to flick all those negative thoughts or those disempowering thoughts when it comes to your mind? Because if you don't do that, if you don't know how to do it, you're gonna be vulnerable inside. And to me, honestly, that fear is as bad as a virus which we can see outside, that can eat us from inside, that will make us sick from inside. And once the fear take over, all our decisions are basically wrong. This is the point that I would like you to take from today's episode, that learn about how you can make a decision. Find about who you are and how you've been making decisions all these years. Because irrational decision is always result in disastrous financial decision. I would like to repeat that again. Irrational decision always result in disastrous financial decisions. So before you make any big financial decision, first of all, you need to find out any way to calm your mind. Whether it's through meditation, through music, read a book, or talk to an expert, to a coach, please first calm that mind and then seek advice from a professional. Not from a neighbor, not from a friend, not from someone in the TV to say that, yes, go do this. Because we all have our own opinion that work for us or some of our clients. And I truly believe everybody has got the good intent to help others. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes it's up to us to see that, okay, if this worked for that person, is it going to work for me or not? So no matter what is your situation, let's say if you are working from home, which you are one of those lucky ones that already got a job that can work from home. So you have a way to find what is best for you. Or if you've lost your job and you are home, again, look at the bright side, because there is always a silver lining in any situation. And now for those of like me that we're living in advanced countries, many governments have put their hands up and say that yes, we are here to help people. So the basic human needs basically is covered, such as the shelter and food. And that to me should have taken some burden off from our mind, so not to let the fear take over. This is not the time to let fear do the running. So that's why again I'll go back to our brain, how our brain works as a human. Our brain has got 3 levels. We have a primitive brain, we have a middle brain, and we have a forebrain. The primitive brain is like a caveman, so they always just make any decision based on fear, that okay, if something comes, okay, night comes or an animal is coming in. So it was based on fear, they would go there and react. But the middle brain, the way I see it, is now obviously it's a bit more advanced, and this is when the human use some analytical forms to calculate things and make a calculated decision. But the forebrain, or some people refer to it as a third eye, is when you have the wisdom. You see a situation, you see a storm, but you try to see the good thing and take out something good out of it. So again, I would like to stress on that okay, are you operating from the fear, from your primitive brain, from your middle brain, or from your forebrain? And the way, again, I'll relate it to wealth creation is this way, that the primitive brain is based on fear, the decision comes out of fear. The middle brain, to me, is greed, because even though our basic human needs, which is food and shelter, is done, but we think that, okay, I want to have luxury, I want to have a better life, so you'll do some calculation, and that's where the greed kicks in. But the forebrain, which is love, through love you will make those decisions. But because unfortunately there are not many people who have mastered their mindset and work from the forebrain, that's why most of the decisions of human beings are based on fear or greed. And that's the fundamental reason that moves the trillions of dollars in share market. Because share market, like business, like anything, it all depends and works on fear and greed. And that's why we have buy and sell position. That's why we have a bull and bear market, because all about fear and greed. But one thing I would like to point out is there is a third position here. It's not just about buying or selling. There is a position which only when you master the money skills you will come to know and really feel it, is a position of not taking any position. Means you sitting on a sideline, but you will watch for the opportunity. But again, and it's not that you don't make a decision because you have fear to make a decision. That's totally different. This not taking any position is basically being still, but watching what's going on, educating yourself, and then find out what are the opportunities, and then enter to a market whether to sell or buy. And this is the time, if you have time, if let's say you've lost your job and you are home, maybe you can use that time. The time is given to you to think about what you could do, because again we have to focus on what we can do rather than what we cannot control in our life or in the world. So I would like to share with you 3 tips that works for me and for my clients during this time. The first thing is, do not make any major financial decision now. This is not the time for that. This is the time to sit back and educate yourself first. The next one is work on your mindset. Get a coach that this is the time you have. There are many coaches available, great coaches online. You can talk to them. You don't even have to leave your home. You can talk to them and just work on your resilience, work on your brain, work on how you can see the world, and so you can make a better decision. And the third one is about choosing your battle. We cannot win every battle, every war. I wish we could, even though humans, I think that because of their ego now, this is the mess they are in. But we cannot win everything. So choose your battle wisely. So know what is the problem now, and try to put a degree of urgency on each problem or situation you may think needs your attention, and work through it. Because there is no point working on something if your brain, in your subconscious mind, you are worrying about something else. So try to recognize what is it that you have problem, or it just keeps taking you away from your goal. If that problem is, let's say, fear, you need to work on your fear. If that problem is that, okay, you are missing your family or something, try to find a way to improvise. We are lucky, we are living in an era of technology and internet, that we can see our family and basically be part of everything, except of course the human touch. Otherwise, imagine humans, they have survived already many disasters through history. But did human race end it? Obviously not, otherwise we were not here today. So we're gonna survive these. But obviously I don't know if I'm gonna be even here next month, because I don't know if that's gonna happen to me, even though I'm doing my best not to get this virus. But perhaps if that happens to me, if I cannot fight it, if I die, the least I know is that I did everything I could do during that time until my last breath. And that's what I would like you to know, that you could do that too. I've seen the other day that because I've been on many live interviews for the last few days, trying to help people and help my clients to take the burden off and make them calm before they make any hasty financial decisions. And the other night I had a very late call because the client was overseas. And when I finished, it was around midnight. And when I finished, and that time my daughter came to my room, and which I thought she was already asleep. She came to my room and said, "Mom, don't worry, everything will be fine. You're doing the best you could do," because she could overhear me, obviously, with clients. That assurance from her, those words from her, to me, that was something that she could definitely help and change my mood instantly. That's why I say we all have the power to make a difference now and help other people's life much better. So another way that has really helped me and my clients to go through life at any problems that solve it easily was having a gratitude journal. I know you may think why a wealth coach is talking about gratitude journal, but believe me, it works. It's not about hocus pocus. It's not about that, okay, it's not going to work or this is not the time for it. It actually is the time for it. I hate to say the word "I told you so" to people, but when it comes to the bad time, that's the time that actually we need to have access to those skills and ability that we could have learned during other times. For example, having this gratitude journal, which I started many years ago, now that just become that repetitive nature of that keeping that journal is just become so natural in my brain that no matter what happens, I try to find something good in it. It's just similar to, let's say, you doing brush every day. Of course, this is now a part of your habit. You don't even think about it. But have you noticed, let's say if you are in a restaurant or you had something or something stuck in your teeth, without any thinking, you'll go and you want to have brush your teeth because that is something that's going to help you. This is the same way how the keeping gratitude journal will work, because during this bad time, the only thing that's going to make us feel better is to look at the positive side of it. I know you may say that, well, not everybody is the same and not every pain is the same. And of course, I agree with you, but I can only talk to you about my own experience. And for those of you who know about my life, you know that last year in March 2019, my father was in ICU and I had to, fly back overseas. But I was lucky that I could spend time with him before he passes, and I was there for a funeral. I could spend time with my siblings and had that closure. And even though I was planning to go for the first anniversary, go back home, but it was just the beginning of this pandemic. And I was scared that, okay, if I go there and I get stuck there, so then how I'm going to come back? I've got of course, family here, kids, business, I've got other commitments, and I couldn't go back there. But at the same time, what I was just trying, of course, I could sit there and moping around it and feeling sad and sorry for myself that why I couldn't do this. But at the same time, I'm thinking I was so lucky and blessed that this didn't happen this year, or this pandemic didn't happen last year. Imagine if I wasn't able to go there. So it's just up to us how to find a way to make us feel better. You may think that, yes, we are lying to ourselves. Please get over it. That's what life is about. We have to find a way. Our brain doesn't know the difference between reality or fake. What we're feeding it, that's going to help us. That's why we say that when we watch, let's say, a horror movie, why we show reaction? Because obviously we know it's movie, it's not going to happen, because our brain doesn't know that. So think of these things. And at the same time, if somebody is really going through this unfortunate situation that their loved one is overseas and they're going through, battling with life, and they cannot even travel because of current traveling restrictions, let's look at the positive side, that you had your loved one at least 1 year more with you, comparing to those who've lost their loved one last year or a few years before that. You see, that's what I'm talking about, finding a way to look at the situation, to say that how I can make it feel better for me. Because it is only up to you. You are responsible to make yourself feel better. I had planning to go to Europe in April this year. So basically by end of April, I was supposed to be in Europe, and I had the opportunity to be presenting in one of the prestigious events. But obviously that is now canceled. Yes, and I don't want to lie and say, yeah, as soon as I heard, I said, yes, that's fine. There is a good thing out of it. Obviously, I was disappointed because I had so much high hopes about that event and the people that I was going to meet, and sharing a stage with some people that I always wanted, to meet them. So, but what happened was, it's just immediately, of course, I had that disappointment, but then I tried to find out, okay, what can I do to, just at least next year I'll get invited. That's the way, if of course, I'm still here and I'm surviving this pandemic. You see, is how long we allow that problem or disappointment stay with us and control us. That's the power of our mindset. And if you are letting your fear, your anxiety stick with you and taking over your life and your rational brain, that is something definitely this is the key that you need to work on, and that is your mindset. So at the end of the show, I would like to finish our show with a great poem from a Persian poet from 13th century. His name was Sadi. I believe this is the poem that can relate to these days because we all are humans and we all are connected. And I'm so grateful that this is a pandemic and it's not an endemic. Imagine if this was just happening to a culture or to a group of people or race, how horrible this would have been. But now I see this pandemic actually is an awakening time for humans to understand that no matter how much rich you are or how much money or education you have, we all are vulnerable when it comes to something like this. And this is the time that everybody is out there to help each other. Even the countries are helping each other. From my country's point of view, I can see that they are stuck at home. They are truly stuck because of the corruption in the government and all the other things that's happening back there. They haven't even come out of home and they don't even know what's going on, and there is not many things available to them. But I'd like to point out that we all are humans, and no matter what, I'm sure we can survive this, and we can show the world that not only we survive, we will thrive after this. And it's only the smart one and the wise people will find this time to educate themselves, learn ways to, get the skills that makes you recession-proof or completely financially free, that no matter what's going to happen to you. And now the poem. It says, the sons of Adam are limbs of each other, having been created of one essence. When the calamity of time affects one limb, the other limbs cannot remain at rest. If you have no sympathy for the troubles of others, you are unworthy to be called the name of human. So thanks again for watching today. We really appreciate your time, and we would love to hear from you, your opinion. Please put your comments here, and if you believe this episode can help someone who is at the moment experiencing anxiety or fear, please gently tag them on this episode or send the link to them. You never know, maybe with this small act you make someone's life better and make their day better. So until next episode, have a happy, healthy, wealthy life. The sons of Adam are limbs of each other, having been created of one essence. When the calamity of time affects one limb, the other limbs cannot remain at rest. If you have no sympathy for the troubles of others, you are unworthy to be called the name of human.